morning everyone. This is lecture number 32 of Engineering Thermodynamics. Today we'll see different methods of dryness fraction measurement. To measure dryness fraction, calorimeter is used. We'll see types of calorimeter. First is throttling calorimeter. Second, separating calorimeter. Third, separating and throttling calorimeter. Fourth, electrical calorimeter. But in our syllabus, we have only 3 calorimeter: throttling calorimeter, separating and throttling calorimeter. Electrical calorimeter we don't have in our syllabus. Let us start with throttling calorimeter. To understand throttling calorimeter, let us understand what is throttling process. The name of this calorimeter is given as a throttling calorimeter because throttling process takes place in this calorimeter. Since throttling process is taking place, this calorimeter is given as throttling calorimeter name. Therefore, we need to understand throttling process first. Throttling is a process in which enthalpy remains constant. You might have seen a capillary tube in the refrigerator. At the back side of your refrigerator, domestic refrigerator, you might have seen one copper coil, one small copper coil of very small diameter, that is capillary tube. In refrigerator, capillary tube is used as an expansion device and process takes place in the capillary tube is a throttling process. In a refrigerator, in capillary tube, refrigerant enters in a wet condition. And it expands drastically. Its pressure and temperature decreases. But it evaporates. Uh, as the pressure decreases, it evaporates even at low temperature. Wet refrigerant evaporates at low temperature because of the drastical decrement in pressure. The throttling device in which enthalpy remains constant even though temperature and pressure change takes place in a throttling device. Now look at the figure. This is a sampling bulb. Through the sampling bulb, sample of wet steam is collected. Now in throttling calorimeter, dryness fraction of wet steam is measured. Dryness fraction of wet steam will be measured always because if the dryness fraction is given, it means steam is wet. We know that if the water is saturated water or subcooled water, its dryness fraction is zero. Dryness fraction means how much it is dry. Wet steam is a mixture of water and vapor. Therefore, wet steam contains water particle as well as a dry steam. Therefore, dryness fraction of wet steam is calculated. The dryness fraction of saturated water or subcooled water is 0 and dryness fraction of saturated vapor or dry steam is 1. Therefore, wet steam is a mixture of saturated water and saturated vapor. Suppose saturated water is a 50% and saturated vapor is a 50%. Dryness fraction is 50%. Or we can say quality as a 50%. If the water molecules are 20% and steam molecules are 80%, then dryness fraction is 80%. It is depend upon the amount of dry steam available. If the amount of dry steam is 20% and water molecule is 80%, then dryness fraction is 20%. Now, this device is used to measure the dryness fraction of steam. Now, to check dryness fraction, we need to first find out how much amount of water molecule, how much amount of water is available, how much amount of dry steam is available, how much amount of water is available, how much amount of dry steam is available. This is sampling bulb. Here sample of wet steam is collected. Wet steam enters from the steam main. From this pipe, wet steam enters in the sampling bulb. Here, first of all, pressure of a wet steam is measured. Pressure of wet steam is measured. Now, on the basis of pressure from stream table, we will calculate the enthalpy. On the basis of pressure from steam table, we will calculate the enthalpy. Then this wet steam is allowed to pass through throttle valve. This wet steam is allowed to pass through throttle valve. When wet steam enters in a throttle valve, here pressure decreases drastically. Because of the decrement in pressure, wet steam gets evaporate. Wet steam gets evaporate completely and it becomes superheated vapor. Now in this region, in region 2, this is before throttle valve, it is region 1, and after throttle valve, it is region 2. In region 1, steam is a wet, means it is a mixture of water and vapor. After passing through throttle valve, pressure decreases drastically and wet steam convert into superheated steam. Therefore, in region 2, steam is a superheated form. Now, in this region, temperature of steam is measured, temperature of superheated steam is measured, and pressure of superheated steam is measured. Here T2 is written, actually it is a P2, not T2. Temperature is measured with the help of thermometer and pressure is measured with the help of U2 manometer or pressure gauge. Now with the help of temperature and pressure, enthalpy of steam is calculated from steam table. With the help of temperature and pressure, enthalpy of steam is calculated with the help of steam table. Now in region 1, we can calculate enthalpy with the help of steam table, and in region 2, we can calculate enthalpy with the help of steam table. But in region 1, we need only pressure or temperature. From subcooled water to dry steam, we require either pressure or temperature to calculate enthalpy. Either pressure or temperature to calculate. Only one, not both. Only one data. Either pressure or temperature is required to calculate enthalpy. But if the steam is superheated, we require both temperature and pressure of superheated steam. Here, steam is entering at a wet condition. Therefore, formula of enthalpy at region 1 will be HF plus X HFG. Look at here, HF is the enthalpy of water and HFG is a latent heat. If I add HF with HFG, it becomes saturated vapor. But we are collecting wet sample. We don't know how much it is wet. We don't know the amount of dry steam and water molecules. Therefore, we are multiplying latent heat with a X. Therefore, formula of enthalpy for wet steam is written as H is equal to HF plus X HFG at a given pressure or a given temperature. Here pressure is given. Here we are measuring the pressure. Therefore, we are writing at a pressure P1. If instead of pressure, if temperature is given, we can take this formula for temperature T1. No problem here. We are measuring pressure. Therefore, we will take these values HF and HFG from steam table on the basis of pressure given. Therefore, in region 1, enthalpy is equal to H1. Since it is a wet, the formula is H1 plus HF plus X HFG at pressure P1. Now in reason 2, from superheated steam table we can directly calculate value of enthalpy with the help of temperature and pressure. In reason 2, steam is superheated. With the help of temperature and pressure we can directly calculate enthalpy of superheated steam from superheated steam table. In H1 we can take value HF and HFG from steam table, but we don't have the value of X. Means in this formula X is unknown. In this formula X is unknown. We know throttling process is a isenthalpic process. During throttling process enthalpy remains constant. Therefore at point 1 and at point 2 enthalpy is same. Hence we can equate H1 is equal to H2. Now H2 can be calculated directly from steam table, but for H1 X is required. For H1 X is required. We don't know the value of X. We know the value of H1 and HF1 and HFG from steam table. Therefore we will equate H1 is equal to H2. Now H1 is equal to HF at pressure P1 plus X into HFG at pressure P1 is equal to H2. We know this value, we know this value, we know this value. Only X is unknown. Therefore we can calculate value of X as X is equal to H2 minus HF at P1 upon HFG at P1. This is the formula to calculate enthalpy of wet steam using throttling calorimeter. Now second, separating calorimeter. The method of determining dryness fraction of separating calorimeter is entirely different than the throttling calorimeter. In throttling calorimeter, the main principle is a throttling process to calculate dryness fraction, but in this we do not use throttling process. Here the main principle is a separation of water and vapor from the wet steam. Again it consists of sampling bulb. In sampling bulb wet steam is collected. Now wet steam is entered through wall in a separating chamber. This is a separating chamber. Wet steam is entered in a separating chamber. You can see there are some obstacles. In the separating chamber. When wet steam enter and touches the obstacle, the water particle gets settled down in the collection tank. Water particle gets settled down in a collection tank and vapor moves in the upward direction. The vapor part moves in the upward direction and leaves from the vapor out. The mass of collector tank is measured. And we know the amount of wet steam is supplied. Here. Suppose amount of wet steam is 10 kg and mass of water collected is 8 kg. It means vapor is 2 kg. Okay, vapor is 2 kg. We know the amount of wet steam entered. Suppose amount of wet steam entered is 10 kg and water collected is 8 kg. It means the vapor is 2 kg. In this type of calorimeter, the known mass of wet mixture is collected through a sampling bulb. Known mass of mixture. I have taken example of 10 kg. Suppose 10 kg of wet steam is collected in a sampling bulb. Separating chamber has a series of obstacles and zigzag path inside it, so that when mixture passes through them, the liquid particle gets separated due to sudden changes in the direction of flow and gravity action. Water particle gets settled down because of the obstacles. Liquid thus separate out in a is collected in a collection tank and is measured. The amount of water collected in a collection tank is measured. Thus, by knowing two mass value, dryness fraction can be estimated as the dryness fraction can be estimated by this formula: total mass. Total mass means mass of wet steam entered minus mass of liquid gets separated upon total mass. From total mass, if I subtract mass of liquid, I will get mass of vapor. This formula is nothing but the mass of vapor upon total mass. Now third is a combination of separating and throttling calorimeter. Uh, Before this we have seen throttling calorimeter and separating calorimeter. Throttling calorimeter and separating calorimeter is used when steam is not much wet. Steam is not much wet. If steam is not much wet, in that case you can use either separating calorimeter or throttling calorimeter. But steam is highly wet. If the steam is highly wet, in that condition we have to use separating plus throttling calorimeter. This is, we can say, this is separating, combination of separating and throttling calorimeter. This calorimeter is used when steam is highly wet. Steam is highly wet means mass of water is more as compared to vapor. When the mass of water is more as compared to vapor, in this case we use throttling calorimeter. Oh, sorry, separating plus throttling calorimeter. Suppose highly wet steam is used. If the highly wet steam is used for in the throttling calorimeter, what will happen? The expansion will not be sufficient to vaporize the steam. The expansion will not be sufficient to vaporize the whole steam. Therefore, superheated steam will not be obtained. Superheated steam will not be obtained. To measure dryness fraction, we require superheated steam. But if the steam is highly wet, then superheated steam will not be obtained. Therefore, highly wet steam is a first pass through the separating calorimeter so that liquid part can be separated in a collection tank. Liquid part can be separated in a collection tank, and the wet steam entering in the throttling calorimeter will be less wet. Now in combined separating and throttling calorimeter, again it consists of sampling bulb. In a sampling bulb, wet steam is collected, and wet steam is first passed through the separating calorimeter. In a separating calorimeter, when wet steam pass through the obstacles, the liquid parts get condensed. Liquid part get condensed and collect in a collector tank. Now the less wet steam enters in a throttling calorimeter. Consider it is a 1 and it is a 2 region. In one region, here pressure of less wet steam is measured. Pressure of less wet steam is measured so that we can calculate enthalpy HF and HFG from steam table. Then this wet steam passes through the throttling wall. Due to sudden decrement in pressure, wet steam vaporizes and it becomes superheated steam. Now the temperature and pressure of superheated steam is measured here. Pressure and temperature of superheated steam is measured here. Now in separating calorimeter, water is collected here. Consider amount of water collected as mf. Consider amount of water collected in separating calorimeter is mf, and the amount of water collected here, it is a m2. Amount of water collected here, it is a m2. but I want to calculate amount of steam collected here. I want to calculate amount of steam collected here. The amount of steam or the dry steam will be is equal to mass of water collected multiplied by dryness fraction. Mass of water collected multiplied by dryness fraction. Let's look at the theory of combined separating and throttling calorimeter. Sometime when the wet steam is extremely wet, when the wet steam is highly wet, then upon throttling state of steam is unable to become superheated. If the steam is extremely wet, then upon throttling, steam doesn't convert into superheated steam. In such situation, first pass in such situation mixture is first passed through separating calorimeter to reduce liquid fraction in it, and subsequently this less wet mixture is passed through the throttling calorimeter. If the mixture is highly wet, then it is first passed through the separating calorimeter so that a liquid part can be removed and less wet steam can be entered in the throttling calorimeter. In such calorimeters, the arrangement is shown in the figure. Here, excessively wet steam is first sent to separating calorimeter. Here, its wetness is reduced by separating out some liquid fractions. Say it is a MF1. The amount of liquid collected in the separating calorimeter considered as MF1. Less wet steam sent to the throttling calorimeter and its dryness fraction is estimated as X2. Consider X2 is a dryness fraction of wet steam entering in a throttling calorimeter. Then at the end, this throttled steam is made to pass through condenser. This throttled steam is made to pass through condenser where its mass is collected, and the mass of condensate is measured from that collected condensate tank is M2. The mass of water collected in the throttling calorimeter is M2. Thus, M2 is the total mass of steam sent from the separating calorimeter to the throttling calorimeter. As the mass of liquid collected in collection tank of a separating calorimeter is MF1, then the total mass of wet steam under examination will be MF1 plus M2. MF1 is collected in a separating calorimeter and M2 is collected in throttling calorimeter. Therefore, total mass is equal to MF1 plus M2. The dryness fraction at section 1 shall be X1. The dryness fraction at the section 1 shall be X1 is equal to mass of vapor upon total mass. Mass of vapor upon total mass. This is a formula for separating calorimeter. Mass of vapor upon total mass. Mass of vapor at 1 shall be similar to the mass of vapor entering 2 section. Therefore, mass of vapor at 2 section will be equal to X2 into M2. Therefore, mass of vapor, I am not talking about mass of liquid, mass of vapor is X2 into M2. Therefore, dryness fraction at X1 is equal to mass of vapor upon total mass. Mass of vapor is X2 into M2 and total mass is MF1 plus M2. This is the formula for dryness fraction. Now this part we'll see in the next lecture. To understand this part, we'll understand how to take values from steam table. Before this part, we'll see steam table because we have to solve numericals based on this part.